Welcome to our OCTOPUS tutorial refilling and resetting Brother LC-3239 and LC-3237 cartridges. These Brother inkjet cartridges exist as single ink tank cartridges. They have a bigger inner tank for storing the ink, an air port plus an ink port and an ink chip as well. We from OCTOPUS are really happy to have everything in place to enable you to refill these cartridge models. One main player of our refill solution are the high quality, fully pigmented refill inks made by OCTOPUS Fluids here in Dresden. The refill procedure mainly relies on our easy to use and clean refill tool for getting the refill ink into the cartridge. And finally, there is the resetter suitable for the chips on those cartridges. The cartridge's main body works as a tank for storing the printer ink. On the upper side on the cartridge, there you can see the ink chip and the air port. On the cartridge front, the ink port is located. This is the part where the ink from the cartridge is transferred into the printer. Exactly this opening in the cartridge is the point of access for our suggested refill approach in this tutorial. The ink port and the tip of the refill tool are a perfect fit to each other. The ink port is closed by an inner spring valve. By pressing the tool's tip into the ink port, that valve is opened, then the refill ink can be pushed from the syringe into the cartridge's ink tank section. For a better understanding what happens when the refill tool is pressed into the ink port, we have removed the black cap from the cartridge. Taking off that cap is not necessary to refill the cartridge. As said before, we have done it just for demonstration. The tool's tip is pressed straight into the ink port to open the valve. For filling in the ink from the syringe into the cartridge, we tilt the syringe slightly to avoid that the tool's opening is blocked by the sealing in the ink port. Now we would like to explain what the air port is for and how it affects the refill process. To see the air port mechanism more clearly, we have removed the upper cartridge cap. Once more, this is not necessary for the actual refill process. The air port is opened or closed by a toggle switch mechanism. Here you can see the position of the switch when the air port is open. Air is able to enter into the cartridge and replace the volume of the ink that has been consumed when printing. When the cartridge is new, the position of the little lever of the switch is like this. Then the air port is closed. When installing the cartridge in the printer, the air port is opened automatically. We recommend to refill the cartridges 3239, 3237 and reset their chip before receiving any ink level related warning messages. Before bringing new ink into the cartridge, remove the residual ink from the cartridge by the help of the refill tool. Make sure that the air port is open, then the residual ink can get sucked out easily. The residual ink inside the syringe can be reused, of course. Take a look how much ink is in the syringe and top up that amount until there is the right amount of refill ink inside that is suitable for the cartridge model that you are refilling. In our tutorial we use a Magenta LC-3239 cartridge. Please pay attention that the air port is open. For our cartridge model, the suitable ink quantity is 50 ml pigmented magenta ink. Exactly this quantity of OCTOPUS Fluids ink is ready in our refill syringe. The refill tool is pressed into the ink port on the cartridge carefully. The levers on the tool support you to keep the position of the tool and the cartridge stable. Tilt the tool and the syringe slightly. Then you are able to push the full quantity refill ink from the syringe into the cartridge's inner ink tank carefully and slowly. As soon as you have filled in the total amount of ink from the syringe, remove the tool carefully from the ink port. Please clean off remaining ink to avoid ink stains to your working area or other sensitive materials. Next is setting back the chip on the cartridge using the suitable chip resetter. To power the resetter, please connect it to the USB printer cable of your brother machine. The resetter is ready to use as soon as its LED is blinking red. Now you can set back the chip on the cartridge. For the right alignment of resetter and chip, the resetter has a protruding bar that fits into the groove next to the chip on the cartridge. Here you can see how to hold the cartridge and position it on the resetter for setting back the ink chip. Press the chip carefully on the reset pins on the resetter. As you can see, we also need more than one attempt for the reset. The reprogramming of the chip was completed successfully as soon as the LED switches to shining green. There are a few things to know about the ink level information of refilled and reset cartridges. After taking out the empty Magenta cartridge from the printer, its position on the printer's display is marked with a red cross. After refilling and resetting our Magenta cartridge, we set this LC-3239 cartridge back into the printer. On the printer's display, the ink level information bar for this cartridge is shown without color but marked with a question mark. This means that the reset has been successful and the cartridge is recognized by the printer. On your computer screen, the ink level information for the refilled and reset Magenta cartridge is more detailed. This information is accessible by going to the printer settings. The refilled and reset cartridge is shown with the full ink level status bar with the cartridge's color. And the bar of our Magenta cartridge is flagged with the question mark. The refill procedure of our previously empty Magenta inkjet cartridge is complete. As soon as it is set back into the printer, it can be used for running print jobs immediately again. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for watching. We hope that our tutorial provides some useful information for you, and we hope to see you back at another OCTOPUS TV session.